Hi, everyone. From me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za. There's big horse racing this weekend. This is our Gold Cup Day preview of 2025. We'll have a look at all of the races. Won't necessarily give a tip on each of them, but I can tell you my partner at Good for the Game, Chris Sturdy, has got an article up where he does mention a horse in each and every race. But let's get into introducing my guest, and it's none other than Hilton Hassan, fresh after a very successful Durban July. Hilt, what was that horse you tipped that was tipped at 11-2 on the show and ended up something ridiculous like 14-10 and won as well, most importantly?
Yeah, it was that, Brenty. We said before the show that Chris and I were sitting there thinking, okay, let's just get to the 10th race. Let's get through all the rubbish races, the July. Let's get to the 10th race because we need to tip this horse before it shortens. As Hannibal Smith said, we love when a plan comes together.
No, that's for sure. And I mean, there's some great racing this weekend. I just want to quickly bring this up. If you do want to bet on each card, you go to goodforthegame.co.za, and Chris has actually previewed each thing. Obviously, betting subject to change. We'll probably have a look at this as we go on as well, Hilt. But we're going to talk through, I guess, let's start with the main race, the Gold Cup. And I'm going to bring up the betting here at Hollywood. And talk me through this race. What's your thinking of it, and where's the money to be made?
Yeah, Brent. At face value, King Pele's, he won very well on July Day. He's improving. We had our small little doubts about the weight that he was going to carry, and we thought maybe that he would find one or two too good for him. But the way he won on July over 3,000 meters, he is 100% a worthy favorite, and without a doubt the one to beat. It's quite strange that on Met Day he won a staying race in Cape Town at 25-1. And sort of 6 months later, he's now 16-10 favorite to win the Gold Cup. So it's just testament to the improvement that he's shown, how he's come along, and obviously with someone Kamalo who rode him on July Day, I think that's a devastating combination. He's definitely the one to beat. But saying that, it is 3,200 meters, and I don't think many people will be rushing to take 16-10. So I think the trick is either you bank him in your exotics, or you look for a couple of other sort of bigger price horses that just in case something does go wrong, you are covered. And in that case, I think you need to look at Frank Robinson. Mm-hmm. Frank Robinson's got a three-pronged attack in this. Yeah, he's got Madison Valley, Shoot the Rapids, and he's got Field Marshal. It's quite uncanny for one trainer to have kept his horses on the boil for so long and done so well that he's actually got three runners in a staying race. It's hugely commendable. If you look at those three, or maybe we should just have a quick look at Holding Thumb, seeing its second favorite. He probably will stay, but this season he's just battled to put it together, over the last sort of 200, 300, 400 meters. And I think he's just a bit short of a likely winner. Not saying that he can't win, but going back to sort of the Marshall, Field Marshal, the Frank Robinson trifecta. You got Shoot the Rapids, Madison Valley, and Field Marshal. Shoot the Rapids ran second in this race last year. He was pretty well beaten by King Pele's on July Day, but he's 2 kgs better off. Madison Valley, I didn't give him much chance in the July, to be honest. I thought the 2-2 was a bit short. So the fact that he ran 3.5 lengths off them was a really, really good run. I think he's going to be better over this distance. He ran over 3,000 meters on July Day last year, and he ran second. So yeah, I think those are the two. Field Marshal as well. He looks like he's much more suited to the distance. And I think between those three, if anything is going to beat King Pele's, it's going to come from one of those three. Shoot the Rapids 12-1, probably more of a value. But you're looking at Madison Valley, who's even money for a place, and King Pele 16-10 for a win. There's definitely value in there too. So yeah, apart from that, Brent, I think it's quite a thin race, to be honest. You've got Navo Nation that ran well on July Day in the over 2,200. You've got Future Swing, which ran fourth in the race last year. You've got a horse like Bournemouth, PE Raider. I think the last time, one and only time a PE Raider won was a horse called Sirius. Stu Randolph won about 10 or 12 years ago for Krief. So yeah, I think it's unfortunate that this used to be the premier staying race in the country. It used to be a Group 1, and you look at sort of the substance of the field now, and you can see it's kind of lost its gloss. That's why it's dropped down now to sort of a Group 3. And as much as it's called Gold Cup Day, you look at the race after that with July winners and Group 1 winners, and you think that's actually the main race of the day. Brent, just one other thing I'm going to say, that Nebras.
Okay, well,
Nebras is competing in his 5th consecutive Gold Cup after winning it as a 4-year-old.
Wow, 8 years old, yeah, I see, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think there's much left in his career, but to have competed in a race like this 5 years in a row is pretty good training feat by Sean Terry.
Hilton, correct me if I'm wrong here, just a perception. Distances like this, there are not many races and feature races of this sort of distance. Is that part of the problem why it struggles to maintain a sort of maybe a high level? Because as an owner trainer, you rather want a horse that goes strong over 1600 to maybe the July distance 2200. Is that a big factor? Because I don't follow closely anymore, but I never really see these sort of distances.
Yeah, Brent, well, that's where the money is, between 1600 and obviously the 2200 or the July. That's where the big stakes are. And you find that these horses that stay are not necessarily purchased as stayers. They sort of they purchased to win the 16, the 2000, and as their career grows, they suddenly become these incidental stayers. And that's why you never buy a horse, or you never see a trainer say in the first time over 1200 meters, we'll need the run, we'll need further. They never say needs the run, will need 4 times the distance that he's running on a debut. It's just one of those things that happens as they mature, as their confirmation decides, they end up running in these races. And there's definitely a huge lack of staying races in South Africa. You look at all these trainers that do have these stayers, and they complain all the time. They say you get sort of 3 or 4 races a year, where if you've got a miler or a 2000 meter horses, you can pick and choose and decide which one of the 15 races you can compete in. And that's pretty much what's happened with the Gold Cup. And that's why it's pretty much a watered down version of what it used to be sort of 10, 12 years ago, when the fields were really strong.
Right, that makes 100% sense there, Hilt. How do you want to do it from here? I know you don't necessarily fancy anything in each race. You want to go through the card quickly? I'll share Chris's pick, and you can give me your views if you've got any.
Yeah, Brent, let's do that. Let's just go do a quick skip through races 1 to 9 and see if Chris and I are on the same page.
Okay, well, I'll lead us in race number 1 over 1600 meters. This is, I know, I'm going to send the Good for the Game newsletter out. There'll be a link down below for that as well. This is the one he's mentioning in the newsletter. He likes each way here at 16 to 1 and a top 4 finish at around 23 to 10. While you're talking, I'll just bring up the betting as well so we can see if there's been any movements. What do you think?
Yeah, Brent, I can see where Chris is heading. The only problem that I have with Yanni, very super consistent, but drawn 14, which isn't going to be ideal. I mean, that's 14 drawn on the bend, and if you don't get the perfect start, then you're pretty much out of the race. There is one horse that I really do fancy to kick off the day. I see that he was 9 to 2 when betting first opened. Winter Games into 33 to 10 now. He beat Gladiatorian. I mean, admittedly, Gladiatorian was giving him 10 kgs on that day. He beat Gladiatorian over course and distance 3 runs back. But he then finished up ahead of Zaatz the race after that. And as we know, Zaatz came and won on July Day. He beat Zaatz on level weights. So I think that was an extremely good run. Arsalucci, who's the favorite, they finished very close on July Day. I mean, it was sort of half a length between them. Arsalucci finished ahead of him. But from that day, Winter Games was drawn 13. He's now comes into 2. Tristan Godden, who would have had the choice of rides of the Miller, has gone with Winter Games. If he gets the right break, he's got extremely good gate speed. If he gets to the front and he gets to dictate his own pace, I think that's the type of horse that we're looking at to kick off our day. At 33 to 10, I don't think it's a bad price. Obviously, would have preferred 9 to 2. Bustop and Hanslow bringing karting form in, but I just think Winter Games, he's beaten horses that have gone on to do better things. And I think that's kind of gives him the edge over Arsalucci and the rest of the field.
Right, so the joint favorite there at 33 to 10. Hilt, we're going to move on to a race 2. Let me quickly give you Chris's pick again. Win Princess of Gaul. This is over 1,200 meters at around the 33 to 20 mark. I'll quickly have a look here. We do have it. It is the favorite, and it's still trading in that sort of region. What are we looking at yet? It's in fact shortened a bit. We're looking at sort of 25 to 20 here.
Yeah, Brent, very, very difficult race for one reason. I mean, the betting looks like Princess of Gaul is definitely the one to beat, but she is an unknown quantity. She ran her debut at Scottsville. She won by 10 lengths. You can't do more than win, and to win by 10 lengths on debut is very, very good. But the field that she ran against, of the 10 runners, there was a combined places percentage of 0.3%. Basically, there were 3 places out of the 10 runners. It wasn't a strong field at all. Didn't have to be too good to win, but she won by 10. So now you're looking at this sort of unknown quantity. Is she as good as they say? Did she just beat what was put in front of her? Probably the one to beat, but I do think there's value in this race. And that always happens, Brent, as you know. You've got a short price favorite that may not be quite the right price. That opens up value for other horses. Elegantrix didn't run a great race on July Day. It was her first run at Greyville. Still, the jury's out for me whether she's course suited, because I do think that going from Scottsville to Greyville around the bend is a very, very different prospect. She didn't run well. I know she had interference in the closing stages. But the 2 horses that I'm going to focus on are Mystical Miss and Kirkenhoff, both at 7 to 1. Mystical Miss won her debut. Now, if you compare her debut with Princess of Gaul's debut, there have been 12 winners that have come out of that directly or indirectly. Strong fields, a lot of horses that have gone on and won 2 in a row after that. Nearly every one of the races that the horses that have finished behind her in debut have gone on to win. Princess of Gaul, she beat a horse called Snooky, which came out and won at 80 to 1 against a relatively weak field timeout. So if you compare those form lines, you need to look at strength versus strength. You're comparing apples with apples. I'm just not sure whether Princess of Gaul's form line is going to stand up. And if it doesn't, well, then Mystical Miss comes into it. And a horse called Kirkenhoff as well. Won her debut very well. Ran a length behind Direct Hit, which has been one of the top PE fillies of the season. Slow start last time, ran on. I think that to me is, if everything goes according to plan, then Kirkenhoff to me is probably the value of the race. Don't think she'll start 7 to 1 on Sunday, to be honest. I think she's more than likely a sort of 5-6 to 1 shot. I think there's value, but I would definitely put Mystical Miss and Kirkenhoff in all of my permutations. That's obviously if you're going to go against Princess of Gaul.
So keep an eye on Kirkenhoff's price. They're currently just over 7 to 1. Let's go into race 3, Hilton. And here Chris goes over 1,200 meters. Win Aristocratic at around the 18 to 10 mark. I'll check that price now. It's actually shortened a little bit, just over 15 to 10.
Yeah. British Aristocratic was one of our value bets for the day. I don't know if you remember, for July Day at, I think, 10 or 12 to 1. Had a very bad start, got into it, ran on for 4th, 2 to 1 a place. He's coming down from the 1,400 to the 1,200. So, and he was running on July Day. So that is a little, hold on a second. So that is
Hilt, you there?
a little bit of an issue. I think if we were going from 14 to 16, I would have said, I'm still hearing to you. Sorry. Actually, I thought I'd lost you.
Yeah, I don't know who's lost too. That's the only problem. We've got no live viewers, so we can't get the total. But can you hear me now, okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. From race 5, should we start?
Go for it.
Yeah, Brent, I think you'll remember that Aristocratic was one of our value bets for July Day at 10 or 12 to 1. And he lost a couple of lengths at the start. He ran 4th. I think it was sort of 2 to 1 or 22 to 10 the place. I don't think he's meeting as strong a field on Sunday that he did. The problem is, however, is that he's gone from 1,400 to 1,200, and he was running on over the 1,400 on July Day. I think that might count against him. I think there are a couple of horses with chances. Shadowfax comes into the race with Richard Ferree. Zalatoris, Rachel Wall with Gavin Lorena. But if everything goes according to plan, then I would have to agree with Chris and say Aristocratic's probably the one to beat.
Right, let's move on to the fourth race, which I imagine is the first leg of the pick six. And let's see what Chris has gone for here. This is the Dougie White Stakes over 1,600 meters. And oh, you're sitting this one out. So Chris is sitting this one out. What have you got anything for us here? Golden Palm, the favorite? 4 to 10, very short.
Yeah, I think the reason why Chris is sitting out is because he knows it's probably very difficult to try and find something to beat the favorite. This was finished a couple of minutes behind another Dance With Me on debut. Wasn't fancied, and since then has come out literally obliterated all its opposition. She opened 18 to 10 anti-post, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the price. It was crazy, absolutely crazy price. I think the 4 to 10 is the right price. It's going to be very hard to beat. Beaten One Fine Winter easily the last time they met. I think this is another sort of referee put and take type of situation. Something's going to have to go very wrong for Golden Palm to be beat.
Right, so it'll be a banker in many a pick six if you can beat it. Of course, you're gonna get a nice part. Let's see what Chris's fancy is in race 5 over 1,600 meters. He's gone for a box trifecta here, 147.10. So you can want those details. You can go onto the Good for the Game side. 147.10. That is 7 is Tin Pan Alley, 10 Malmesbury Missile, 4 Chronicle King, and 1 Soldier Boy. But can you narrow it down for us here, Hilt?
Yeah, Brent. Chronicle King won a very good race on July Day. Malmesbury Missile as well also had a very good run. But if anybody wants to go back and look at how unlucky Tin Pan Alley was, 4 wide, going around the bend, interference in the straight. I think that if you run that race 6-7 times out of 10, Tin Pan Alley would win. And I absolutely believe that he's the one to beat on Sunday. Even though he finished behind Chronicle King, I think if you go back and look at his run in Turffontein, they did meet once before. Tin Pan Alley beat Chronicle King by 7 lengths. So I don't think that if the playing field is level on Sunday, that Chronicle King will ever finish ahead of Tin Pan Alley again. Malmesbury Missile, I think probably a worthy second favourite. Richard Free did say before the July that this horse is going to be better in Cape Town as he matures. You need to keep that in mind. I think Tin Pan Alley is the type of horse that there'll be money for on Sunday, and wouldn't be surprised to see him start around 14, 15 to 10.
Right, expecting money there for Tin Pan Alley. Let's go to race number 6. Now, this is the Mercury Sprint over 1,200 meters. And Chris's selection here, questioning to win at around the 8 to 1. And let's have a look if that price has changed, because he did post this out a couple of days ago. No, very much around the 8 to 1 mark still. Hilt, what's it got to beat?
Brent, is very wide race open. Tenango drawn 13, got a very good turn of foot. But, draw 13 at that distance is always going to be difficult. He's won races from wide draws before. I think he's got to go, and he's obviously a worthy favourite. Questioning is the horse that Chris mentioned. Vaughan Marshall bought 1 horse to Durban for the season. That was it. And questioning was the horse. So he obviously came in with a target. This is probably his target. He's done very well over tight courses. I mean, he's pretty much wins every time he runs at Durbanville. So he needs to be respected. But there is one horse that needs to go in, and that's Asia Pambile. Drawn 11, I know that. But back to 1,200 meters, she has run 9 times over 1,200 meters. She's finished first or second in 8 of those. The only time she didn't finish in the first 2 was when she lost her jockey at the start. So basically, if you're looking at finished races, she's got a 100% record finishing first or second. She ran over 1,600 in the Garden Province last time out. She ran in the 1,600 in the Garden Province last year on July Day. It's quite clear that she doesn't stay the 1,600. She doesn't have the class with those Group 1 fillies, but this is her distance. She won twice in a row in Kenilworth over the summer over 1,200, and I think that she definitely needs to go in. 10 to 1 is a massive value price, and she's definitely in the race.
Well, I can tell you, Hilton, you've convinced me. That's a very, very sound argument there. We're going to jump to race 8 now, because we have, of course, talked about race 7 up front. Race 8, the Champions Cup. And Chris is going for a tote bet here. See it again in Royal Victory to run in the first 3. What are your feelings here? The Real Prince, of course, the July winner, is the favorite here, just over 18 to 10. Hilti, can you hear me there?
What a race, Brent! Like I said to you at the beginning of this preview, I think this is probably the race of the day. I mean, look at the Group 1 winners here. Look at that type of field.
Yeah.
It's a very small field, but it is super competitive. I mean, you start at the bottom. You've got Montien, who hasn't really done much this season in Durban, but is a definite weight for age horse. He ran third in the Met. I hope that Pete came down for this mission, and I just hope for his sake that Montien actually does produce the type of form that we know he can. Royal Victory, drawn 17 in the July, ran on for fourth. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chris has sold his share a couple of weeks ago, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did. Yeah, he's unfortunately, it was very reluctantly, but he just felt it was the right time. But I see he's still including it in the swingers, so he hasn't lost the connection totally.
Absolutely, and to have someone like Pierre Straden riding it, who's obviously backing up. This is going to be one of his last meetings that he rides. Perfect type of jockey for this horse. These small fields, it may not be too much pace. I'm not sure how the pace is gonna play out. He's in the run. See it again. One of the most expensive horses to follow in racing ever. He has, if you want to call it the benefit of not having run in the July. Obviously, he was pulled out of the July because he wasn't well. But at least he's coming in fresh. You've got Fire Attack, who's done absolutely nothing wrong in Joburg. You got Gladiatorian, who was one of the more fancy sort of outsiders for the July and ran on, didn't disgrace himself. I think will be way better over this distance. We all had doubts that he would stay the 2200, and I think he just got found out. You got Dave the King, multiple Group 1 winner. And I think that the Real Prince and Dave the King are two of the best horses in the country at the moment, to be honest, over this distance. Mark de Kock's being inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend, so he would like nothing more than to win the race. And then obviously you need to talk about Real Prince. I mean, whoever thought that he was going to win the July the way he did, apart from Southpaw. So Alan, we see you, Alan, we see you. There were so many doubts that he was going to say the 2200. He did, and I can tell you now that Dean Kennemer would not have put him in this race if he didn't think that he would win. I know a lot of people are going to say that the July takes a lot out of a horse, and it does. But 3 weeks down the line, a horse like this, if he wasn't primed to win and hadn't pulled up sound and wasn't coming in here to be a runner, he wouldn't be in the race. And he opened up 5-2 anti-post. Dave the King was 2-1. They've got the betting spot on. I think the Real Prince is the best horse in the race at the moment. I think if he's recovered sufficiently, obviously we know the distance isn't going to be a problem, the 1800. And if things go his way, I would say the Real Prince is without a doubt the one to beat.
Okay, 100% the Real Prince to do it again. And as you say, I'm just looking down now, really, really quality field, small field, but absolute quality there. And I'll also put the link to the Good for the Game forum in the description box below, where Southpaw and others do put their picks every week, in fact, throughout the week. So we'll have a look at that. Let's get into the final leg of the pick 6, race 9. I'll see what Chris has selected. This is over 2,000 meters, lock and key to win at 12.5 to 1. So Chris is picking some pretty nice prices for us here. Lock and key still trading at the 12.5 to 1 mark.
Yeah, definitely another shot. Another one who won first couple of races, went a bit off the boil, seems to be finding form again. 12 to 1 represents a bit of value. It's also, once again, not the strongest race. Rainbow Lorikeet, no one really fancied her to win the July, and she kind of ran accordingly. I still think that Garden Province would have been a better route for her to go. Little Susie, I think the improver in the race. She's done nothing wrong. She's getting better as she gets older. All these horses are turning a year older on the 1st of August. I think I'm not one to really get involved with, but if I had to nail my colours to the mast, I would probably go with Little Susie just because of the price at 5 to 1. But apart from that, I think this is a type of race where you could maybe get a spook here and there.
Right. I think this is then the last race on the card, the 10th. It is over 1,000 meters, a proper sprint this. And Chris has gone for Rodeo Drive to win it around the 5-1 mark. And the price is exactly the same as when he went for it, so no movement on that one. 3-1, the favorite, Outlaw King.
Yeah. I think every time that I'm on a show with you, I mention this horse, King of the Gauls. And I know that one day I'm going to get it right. And I think he won this race last year. He obviously got beaten over 1,200 on July Day. He's patently a 1,000-meter specialist. 1,001 meters is too far. That is it. Done. He did pull a muscle during running on July Day, which is obviously would account for his poor performance. But Richard Free's back on him. He's perfectly suited to the course and distance, and I think that I know his work leading up to this race has been good, and I just think at sort of 7-8-1, definitely one to include, and probably one to include with future variety for swingers and exactors.
Okay, 100%. That'll bring a curtain down then. So, Hilt, if I had to press you for a sort of, let's call it a best bet on the card?
Brent, I'd probably say Winter Games. I'm not going to tip Golden Palm because anybody can do that. Probably Winter Games, King of the Gauls in the last, probably the value bet of the day.
Excellent, man. Hilton Hassan, thanks very much. Look forward to catching up with you soon. Maybe we'll do a little bit more racing content over the coming weeks and months ahead. And have a good weekend. Anything else you're looking forward to on the weekend?
No, nothing at all, Brent. Just chilling. It's actually nice to have a nice Sunday feature race meeting for a change. So be watching a bit of Australia Lions. Very interesting. I'm not sure how to read. Not sure how to read into last week's game, and also not sure how to read into being 8 points behind and kicking the ball out after the final whistle. But that's something for the Aussies to deal with, not us.
Yeah, I was very happy because I was on unders on points, and if the Lions had scored a try there, I would have lost my bet. So I was actually relieved, but it is a very strange thing. I mean, on the one hand, they couldn't win the game; they were more likely to concede a try than score a try. But there's something about a sportsman that says you play until, especially if you're the loser, you don't kick it out; you just try and score another try. So, yeah, I guess I was happy about it, but it is certainly quite an interesting one. Yeah, I've gone for the Australians on the plus there. And, of course, I'll be watching the Tour de France. But, Hill, great catching up with you, man. We'll chat soon.
Yeah, I look forward to it, Brent. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.